My name's Adam, and I'm the cigar expert and the whiskey noob.
My name is Chris, and I'm the whiskey expert and the cigar noob.
And this is the Perfect Pairing Podcast.
And today we're finding the perfect pairing for this West Tampa Tobacco red cigar. One of the few that I've had before, and I am excited to have on the podcast.
This thing took the entire world by storm. I got to say a lot of shout outs to West Tampa because Rick Rodriguez pulled the most Tom Brady move in the cigar industry, and he was with one of the biggest cigar companies in the world and decided to retire and then start his own cigar company, West Tampa. But within it wasn't exactly a year. It was within 2 years, I know that for sure, of starting his company. He landed on the Cigar Aficionado top 25 list. They landed right at 25, snuck in there right at the end. But huge shout out. And this is the cigar. It's the West Tampa Red. If you haven't heard of it already, I'm shocked. I mean, this cigar is chef's kiss. I'm not just saying that because it's Chef Rick, as Rick Rodriguez is known as, but it really just phenomenal cigar. It's got a San Andreas wrapper that I am just a huge fan of San Andreas right now. So this is just right in my wheelhouse. So I'm super excited for all of these different pairings that we're going to get into. And I'm excited to see since you've had this cigar before, I'm intrigued to see where you landed with some of these pairings.
Yeah, I'm really excited to try this out, some of these pairings. And if anybody's listening and they're like, Adam is like, he knows these people, so he's of course got to say nice things about their stuff. Let me just tell you that I don't know any of these cigar brands, so I am not obligated to say nice things about the cigars. And I usually do because you usually pick stellar cigars, but I've had this one before, and I was just so excited to smoke it again. I do love this cigar. So sweet and smooth, and notes that we're going to get into without giving too much away. So I will start with that. But before that, do you have a trivia question for this episode, or should we come up with one on the fly here?
Oh, I think it might have to be the fly, but I'm okay with that. You know why?
Why is that?
It's your turn.
How about that? All right.
I'm good. I don't need. I'm good.
I got an easy one thanks to the bottles sitting in front of me here. All right.
Ooh, okay.
What is the difference between barrel proof, cask strength, and full proof? 3 different terms you see on bottles all the time. I'll say it one more time. Barrel proof, cask strength, and full proof. 3 different very common things you see on labels. What's the difference between the 3 of them? And that's all I'm going to say for now.
I ain't guessing.
I'm making you guess before the end. You better think on it. I'll give a hint before I give the answer at the very end. I'll give a hint.
Fair.
All right. So first up, we've got Chivas Regal 12 year for this cigar. This is
Wait. Did you say Chivas?
Chivas. Yeah, Chivas.
Well, fellow whiskey noobs, I thought it was Chivas. And I thought I was trying to be creative, the os, like Chivas. Like
Chivas.
No. Okay. Never mind. Go ahead.
Real ones know that I pronounced it Chivas, which I did tell you. You probably reading the label, it was the first time you've read it, so now you get it, right? I've told you the story, but now that you've read the label, it doesn't look like that. You didn't even realize it was the same whiskey that I was talking about.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Anyways. It doesn't look like it should be pronounced Chivas at all.
But I can pronounce Regal in 12 year correctly. I got that one.
I can pronounce 12 usually.
I had Brulati. Okay, that's my one win, and I'm never going to win again.
Brulati. That's fair. This is the curveball of the episode. So like I said, I like to pick some that are curveballs. And that I truly don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this is going to be a great pairing, terrible pairing. I don't know what's going to happen. This is a blended scotch. It's relatively inexpensive. This is on about the same level as your Johnny Walker Black Label. For those of you who know Johnny Walker, because it's one of the best, I think the best selling scotch in the world. So this is about on that same price level as their Black Label. It's close to it. And 12 years old, blended, so you get all different kinds of flavors, and I'm interested to see what those different kinds of flavors do with this cigar, and that's all I'll reveal for now.
I like it. Clearly, I've never had this, so What do? You dive right into the deep end.
All right, dive in. You dive into that while I kind of get an impression for the cigar here. Like I said, I have had this cigar before, and I do love it. And it didn't disappoint. I've had it, I think, only one other time, and already I'm loving it again. So I'm really excited. We got a couple of. I'm hoping one of these is just an out of the park, over the 9 type of rating. I'm really hoping, but we'll see.
Me too. This one's an interesting one. They're playing together. They're playing. They're running around, having a good time like 2 dogs in the yard. I'm just not sure if it's going to end well or not. I think it's going positive, though.
Oh, you're right. There's something weird going on here.
Yeah, they're playing. I really wish that like there was a way to just pause.
I know. Like just pause, smoke half the cigar and drink a full glass of whiskey and then come back so we can figure it out.
But that's part of the beauty of the podcast. Okay.
Yeah, it's really hard for us to lie to you guys off the cuff. So you're getting uncensored opinions on these things.
Man, that's so close. All I'm going to say is it's so close between antagonistic and complementary. Mm-hmm. So it's playing in that realm. I think the cigar is changing a little bit. I think there's some sweeter notes that are coming out of it than I usually get. It's as smooth as it typically is, but it's not. Oh, man, it's hard. It's almost like it's taken any oomph that it had down.
Mm-hmm. I know, I get what you're saying. And actually, it's funny that you say that because before I tasted the whiskey, when I was just puffing the cigar, I was thinking one of the things I do love about this cigar is it's so multidimensional. It's not just your sweet chocolate like I would expect. Mm-hmm. It also has these almost, maybe it's floral. I'm still pretty new to cigar notes, but these just different flavors that are a little different. And because of that, I couldn't remember that when I was making this pairing, but then I was like, oh, well, Chivas over here is a blend. It's got maltiness, but it's also got herbal, and it's also got a little citrus. And I think those two kind of weird, complex monsters are interacting in a really cool way because they both have such different flavors.
This is tough, man. This is one that's really hard to pin down. I mean, I'm getting, like I said, the cigar, I can see what's going on, but because I haven't had the Chivas before, no, the Chivas, like I'm already almost done with my pour. I'm like, I keep just sipping. I'm like, what is going on? And I can't pinpoint it. I mean, are you seeing any alteration in this Scotch here?
Not as much in the. You're totally right that it's dancing on the line. It's to the point where I'm like, is this different or do I want it to be different? For sure, the cigar to me has a totally different character. All the same notes, but elevated as a hint to those who are keeping track. So certain aspects of the cigar definitely being elevated. The whiskey, hard to say.
Tough. That's really tough. I just finished my pour, so I'm going to sit here, but I'm going to pour a little for the end. I'm going to say initially, I mean, this cigar, I'm really excited to see the other two. I guess I did a little bit less than normal out of my typical, but I'm going to say that this is antagonistic just because when you have a pairing, you don't want to have to guess. And if we're guessing with a Scotch, like this is not a science experiment, right? We're sitting at a lounge. You want to be, well, I am. No, I'm just kidding. Sitting in my back lounge. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have to think. And if you have to think, then it's not changing that much, so it's antagonistic. But this is a positive antagonistic pairing because I like what it's doing to the cigar. The rating, I don't know where it's going to land in the rankings in the top 3, but the rating's going to be tough on this one.
Yeah. I think you took the words right out of my mouth, and that's a great point too. If you have to think about it as hard as we do, maybe you could just barely say, "Oh, it's complimentary." If you have to think about it that hard, though, it's not really complimentary to your average person. So, if you're just having fun talking with friends, you're not going to notice that little bit of change that might be happening in the scotch. The change that is happening in the cigar, chef's kiss, fabulous, big fan.
Chef Rick, baby.
Chef Rick, that's perfect, isn't it? All right. This next pairing is going to be no stranger to anybody who's been listening from day one. This is Maker's Mark number 46. If you haven't been listening from day one, very quick lowdown. It's important that you know this is not the same as just Maker's Mark. This is Maker's Mark number 46, which means they take the normal Maker's Mark and then they finish it with French oak staves, which gives it this extra kind of vanilla oaky character. Kind of similar to the Penelope Architect that we had in the last episode, which is also French oaked, but they are two different types of, not different types of French oak, I shouldn't say that, two different kind of flavor profiles that you get from French oak. You could tell when you taste them side by side, you could say, these are both French oaked, especially if you have like a refined palate for that sort of thing. But you can also tell these aren't the same. These taste different. And so I thought this one might interact with the cigar a little bit better. We'll see if I'm right or not.
Yep. That's all I gotta say.
Yep.
Yep. That one, I'm telling you, it's doing a little bit. I think it's complimentary off of just initial thought.
Mm-hmm.
But what it's doing to the cigar, just wait. I want to see you sip it, and I want to see you take a smoke, because what it's doing to the cigar made just my taste buds explode. Like, I mean, I gotta swallow because I'm salivating like crazy. This is just like, oh, so delicious.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
That's all. West Tampa Tobacco Red. Yep.
Hey, that's a good slogan. I like that. That's what I would say if I was ever offered it. Yep.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So gut reaction to the cigar before I go back to the whiskey here. Just off the cuff. Deep into the flavors, made them a little bit bolder. I mean, it coated my palate like immediately. Not in a bad way, not in like a punchy way. It didn't make it spicy. It just made it bolder, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, the typical, if you're a cigar guy, that typical San Andreas Maduro wrapper, that's elevated even more. And I had my eyes closed the whole time saying that because I love it right now. And it really, like, it is beautiful. Here's what I'm going to say before the whiskey expert gets on and makes me look like an idiot. This whiskey is being tamed a little bit, but in a good way. That's where I'm at. This is for my cigar lovers out there that are just like me. They're maybe a cigar expert, but a whiskey noob. Bingo. This is it. This is the pairing you want to have. I know the Maker's Mark 46 is a little on the pricier end-ish. I mean, more than Maker's, just the general. But if you have it, if you can get it, if you can have a friend like Chris that you can just steal it from,
Yeah.
do that, because this is a great beginner pairing if you love cigars. That's my 100% statement.
I'm with you 100% on everything you just said, especially that it is taming it and not in a bad way. So if you've ever had a cigar that tames a whiskey down to tasting like water, that's not what this is. It made it sweeter. The vanillas pop out of it now. You still get just a touch of that black pepper. So if you like the kick of bourbons, this is not the pairing for you. But if you, like you said, if you're a cigar lover, newer to whiskey, it tames it down. It makes it sweet. It makes it mellow. Flip side of that coin, if you're a whiskey lover who's new to cigars and you want to experience a lot of body without a lot of pepper and burn and punch. I also think this is a good pairing because it cranked up the body, but it didn't make it any harsher. A lot of times, especially when I was like brand new to cigars, full body to me was like synonymous with burns my nostrils. And this isn't doing that. And this is a good one. This is a good one.
This is a good one. As I always will comment on, burn line's a little off here. It's correcting. I am definitely I'm a guilty as charged here. I'm smoking this one pretty fast because I really love this cigar. Mm-hmm. So that's probably why the burn line's off. But as usual with this cigar, here's where I'll say a little education about the ash. If you see, and I don't know how clear this is going to be for everybody, but if you see no consistency with that ash, I mean, there's no breaks. That's pretty clean. Like this right there is almost a break, but that's just premium construction. And that's what I'll say.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll throw something out there for our whiskey lovers who have had multiple expressions from Maker's before. Maker's Mark has this, it's a wheated bourbon, and it's one of the OGs, not necessarily the OG, but it's an old wheated bourbon. And so they take that normal Maker's Mark and they add the French oak staves. It has this characteristic vanilla with something else. And I don't know what I've had Maker's Mark a ton of times, and I don't know what the something else is. Maybe it's almost like raisin or something like that. That is what's being highlighted in this Maker's Mark right here. And the beef that I have with, how did we make balloons go across the screen?
I just saw that when I looked. All I did was
that was interesting.
Move my whiskey to the other chair, or the side of the chair.
We unlocked a new feature. I don't know. Wait, there it goes again. Oh,
it's like just I'm just.
I don't know.
Shout out to StreamYard, man.
Yeah, hey, if you're not watching the video version, you're confused, but balloons just went across the screen. There's the hearts. We've done that. But yeah, there we go. Little trade of StreamYard here.
Where is the balloons?
I don't know
what
caused that. No, yeah. Anyway, anyhow, for our Maker's Mark lovers out there, my beef with Maker's Mark has always been it's got this nice vanilla raisin flavor, maybe not raisin, but whatever that flavor is. But it is accompanied for me with like this little bit of acetone. I get just this touch of acetone with Maker's Mark, and 46 already pulls back that acetone, which is why I think so many people like 46 compared to normal Maker's Mark. This takes it a step further and accentuates those Maker's Mark notes that might get drowned out by that French oak. They come back, but they don't bring the acetone with them. So that's I really geeked out from the whiskey world there, but those who have had both Maker's Marks probably know what I'm talking about, and that's what I'm getting from this.
Not a bad little description there, Chris. I gotta say, I'm like acetone. I can't picture that flavor in my head, but I'm learning too. That's the whole point here.
Yep. Yeah. It's distinct, and when you get it from a whiskey, I'm not a fan. Maker's Mark just has enough of it that I'm like, but 46 usually doesn't. But wow, yeah. But now it's making those other notes pop.
I'm gonna do just a little flex here. Hopefully by now, all of you that are in the Perfect Pairing podcast or even Perfect Pairing Club world have seen that we released our Dennis Rodman cigar. When I was in LA with Dennis Rodman doing some filming for the cigar, Maker's Mark is what I drank. I did not get any acetone, but that's because I was with Dennis Rodman, and you don't think about anything else when you're there.
Fair enough. I don't blame you there at all.
Yeah. I just got to say, when you think about guys like him, though, you think about, celebrities like him that are just bigger than life. He is exactly who you'd hope he would be.
Is that right?
He is as genuine as it comes. He's a little standoffish in the beginning. But that's because he's met too many people that have, tried to just take one up on him or whatever, take advantage of his fame, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But once you unveil that curtain, he's like, what can I do for you? How let's like take some more videos. Let's do it. Like whatever. Let's do this. Like just so generous and genuine, and like he gave out. So I gave him like 20 cigars when we were sitting there of his cigar. Obviously, he's gonna get more down the line, but we were just doing the launch, and I was like, "Here's 20." He gave half of them away to random strangers.
No way.
And he was just like, "Hey, this is my Ring of Honor cigar, and I got inducted with Michael Jordan. Take it." Like, I think of myself as a good person, but I don't know if I would give away my Ring of Honor cigar to a random stranger I've never met in the middle of a hotel.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's awesome. And to work with somebody who's willing to give you their time like that, like somebody on that level, there's no need for him to be like, yeah, let's take as many videos as you want. Let's do the, he could easily be a diva and you'd be like, that's what I expected. He's a diva.
Yep.
But for him to be that way is pretty awesome. That's awesome.
It was really cool. But let's go ahead and get into number 3 as I show everyone how this burn is evening out.
Nice. I will say I lost my ash. I think I set it down a touch aggressively. I'm a little excited about the pairing, and maybe that's what did it. But even if it's not my fault, I think the flavor of that cigar makes up for it, dude.
Agreed.
That is right in my wheelhouse. And you know what's funny? You might not even remember this. A long time ago, it might have been the first time I had you on Whiskey Noobs. I don't remember. I had told you some of the cigars that I liked and whatnot, and you were like, West Tampa Red. You're like, you got to try West Tampa Red. And you were spot on. When I tried it, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is right up my alley.
I don't remember it, but I'm glad.
I remember it because I put it in my phone because I was like, oh, I'm going to look that up and buy some of it. So that's how I remember it.
Nice.
So, all right. So our next pairing we've got here is the inspiration for our trivia question, which, by the way, let me just remind everybody, our trivia question is on the label of, let's just say, bourbon. What's the difference between barrel proof, cask strength, and full proof? All right. We've got Elijah Craig barrel proof. This is not the much famed, what was it, C923 barrel. This predates that. This is A122, their batch A122. 120.8 proof, which I should start making you guessing. I shouldn't have told you that. I should have had you guess the proof when you taste it.
That's good. We should do that for sure.
Because
I'll be terrible at
it. Dude, honestly, even sometimes I'm really terrible at it. So what makes it really hard is a really well-made whiskey. You're like, 100 proof, and it's like 125, and you're like, oh my gosh. But this is 120.8. This one, because we've got a slightly darker cigar, even though it is sweet, this is punch. This is full body. This is like, I'm going to try to not blow everybody's eardrums out. This isn't just bourbon. This is like bourbon. Like, this is the bourbon flavor. So
I'm breathing fire here.
Yep. Yeah. This is for those of you who are into cigars, think just the darkest, pepperiest cigar you've had. I don't even know any off the top of my head. I think Mr. Brownstone was kind of that way for me.
Which one did you say?
Mr. Brownstone, Esteban Carreras, I think, was pretty full-bodied for me, pretty spicy. But
Yeah.
I'm also pretty new to cigars. So.
When it goes full-bodied cigars, I just go LFD double Hero every time. Never seen a heavier one.
I've never had it, but I trust
if you've had, have you had it before?
I've not.
Oh. If you go to the like higher end labels, you could go Opus X. Is always heavy cigars. But this is weird. This is an interesting one.
All right. I have tasted the whiskey, which tastes as I remember it. I'm going to taste the cigar.
This is interesting. I've only ever had the famed, whatever number you said, Elijah Craig barrel proof.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to John, my producer, who's a whiskey snob himself. He has one of those. He's up in Chris here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
John, shout out.
Yeah, he got it, and I couldn't. I waited in line for an hour and a half and didn't get it. So
I think he waited in line for like 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the first.
That's what you got to do. I remember
he was like, I took that whole day off.
Yep. That's what you got to do, and unfortunately, I did not.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. It's another interesting one. Yep. It's another.
I'm gonna say one more sip of the whiskey to make sure I'm right.
Okay.
I'm gonna say antagonistic. I'm going to say the Elijah Craig is fully not backing down. It
No,
is barrel
absolutely.
proof bourbony goodness. And the cigar is mellowed out. It's kind of the opposite of when it got more full body. The body's a little bit lower. It's a little bit mellower for me. And for the bourbon lovers out there, I think this could be a really good pairing because you're still a lot of times bourbons can get a little watery. They can lose their flavor a little bit with a cigar. This every sip tastes like Elijah Craig barrel proof. It truly does.
Yeah, I'm feeling it kind of like down in this region.
Down in the heartburn area.
Yeah, down in this region, I'm feeling some fire. Somebody's having a campfire in my belly right now, but I'm trying to figure out what it's doing to the cigar, though. I agree 100% antagonistic all the way through, but what is it doing to this cigar? I want to say caramel, but it's something a little different. It's got a sweet note, and it's got that San Andreas kind of spin that you don't always see on a cigar. It's a really interesting one. This, unlike last time, this is a tough trifecta to do the rankings on.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Oh man.
I'm gonna run back through them, and that's gonna be a challenge, especially if you do happen to have water. I don't know if you do. Rinse your mouth out before going back to the Chivas, or you probably won't taste it at all after that barrel proof. But if not, just give yourself a minute to get reacclimated.
Yeah, I'll coat my palate with the cigar.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Oh,
Again, though, 2 in a row here, 2 podcasts in a row. What an incredible ash.
yeah.
I'm just holding steady, not little flake fell.
Almost.
But it's holding strong.
Yeah. This is a good sign for when I have had the cigar before. I mean, it could be a little bit of dumb luck, but wow, these are good pairings.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, none of these were bad. Just so everybody knows. I mean, you can just cut off right now. None of these were bad. Go ahead and try them. But please watch to the end because it helps the algorithm, because our watch time,
Whiskey's not cheap. Which one are you going to try? You got to pick one.
Right. So we got to help you on that end. I mean, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
Or just mute it and just let it play.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have a hard time. I can already tell you. I went back to the Chivas. These are all pretty fantastic.
All right. Should I just start with the barrel proof then?
Yeah, go for it. I like that.
Oh, wait, no, we're going rankings first, not ratings.
True.
Okay, then I can't. I'm going to toss out my rating before everything gets mixed.
Good idea.
Of the barrel proof. Fair?
Yep.
All right. Rating of the barrel proof. One more sip as I destroy everything in my palate.
Yeah, go for it. I'm going to type out my ratings, which I think will help me do my rankings here.
All right. So here's a twist. I'm going 8.2 on this barrel proof. Elijah Craig barrel proof, because I am a cigar guy first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just too heavy. It's just a little too heavy for me to go to a lounge. It's delicious. It does great things to the cigar, but if I'm going to go to a lounge, I really want to just sit and relax. This is not what I'm actually going to go for because I'm probably going to need a DD.
True.
Like, you're going to need a designated driver because I'm going to like it too much. So that's why it's not like, it's not a 7. It's not a 6.5. It's an 8.2. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's just I would like a little bit more play with the cigar. And this one's just shoving the cigar's flavor down and not doing any games.
I think that's fair. That's definitely a fair way to put that, especially coming from the cigar background. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yep.
All right, go ahead and hit your rankings while I go through.
Okay. Oh, all right. I'm gonna take one more taste of this Elijah Craig Barrel Proof because I did the other two. Now I got to revisit.
Fair enough. I'm very intrigued here. Going back through it had to be just crazy. And, we're only like 32 minutes in, maybe less. We're like 30 minutes in without the edits.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what a ride this cigar is.
I keep. Okay, so my top two keep going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I got it. Let me type in my number so everybody knows I'm telling you.
All right. I'm on the Maker's 46 here. Not the one I had with Dennis, because that would have been too expensive for me, not for Dennis.
Right. Okay. Let me run through my rankings. So I just want to remind everybody this was a tough one. So third place is still a good place to be for this episode, I think. Third place, I've got the Chivas. Only because, especially after trying the other two, it was a little too mellow for me. It didn't quite have the backbone that the other two had. Still really good, and they accentuate each other very nicely, but just not quite enough. Then I've got, and this bounced back and forth a lot. You'll see it when we get to the ratings. Then I've got Maker's 46. And kind of for the same reason that you preferred it over the Elijah Craig, same reason, but from the whiskey perspective, it does mellow it out a little bit, and I really enjoyed it. And so you'll see that in the ratings. But what I love, the Elijah Craig, it is the first bourbon that I've had with a cigar that held its character, didn't get harsher, didn't get pepperier, just held up its character, and the cigar still tasted good. And now that's where we're going to deviate a little bit because I can understand the cigar's more mellow for sure. But for me, that's still kind of enough. And so that's why Elijah Craig gets the number one for me.
I'm like trying to speed up this process because you're absolutely right. When you go back through, I mean, they're like, there's a thin line right there.
It is.
And it's almost, here's the thing about pairings. Like I was saying with the Elijah Craig, if I'm having it here in my, back lounge here off my house, that might be a little escalated because I don't need to drive. I just need to walk 10 feet to my bed.
True.
Like,
very true.
There is a thin line here.
All right, I'll give you some thinking time. I'll run through my ratings real quick.
No, I got it. Because I don't want to be swayed. I don't want to be. Fair. I don't want it to be.
Yep.
Moved. Oh man. All right, I'm going 46 number one.
Okay.
46 number one. I got the Chivas at 2, and I got the Elijah Craig 3.
Okay.
And you'll see in the ratings. I'm just going to leave it there because you guys will see in the ratings, like you were talking about, why.
Yep. And I don't blame you there at all. I can totally see that, especially if you're not drinking barrel proof super often. It's spicy. So for those who haven't had anything over 115 or you don't regularly, it's a spicy one. That's for sure.
And I've even had some heavy ones like that. It's got some, I mean, there is no backing down in that one.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I've had a 128 that I felt like a cigar. I mean, it was a heavy cigar that I was having, but it still played. I mean, this one was like, no, get out of here.
Right.
Like, you're not touching me. Just go.
Yep.
So
I totally get it. Now I'll go through my rating of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof because you already gave yours. What did you say? I want to write that down.
8.2.
8.2. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So I put it up at an 8.7 because this is right on that line where you could find something better, but man, this is good for me. Like for me, this is like knock it out of the park. Fantastic pairing. All right, now I'll go first for the Makers.
Okay.
So, wait, let's save Makers for last because that was your number one. So let's save that for last. I'll go first for Chivas. For Chivas, I have a 7.5, which, mind you, we're ranking a lot really high right now. 7.5 is still really good. Yeah. That's still, if I see it and I'm not sure about any other pairings, I'm probably grabbing it. Like, that's still very good pairing.
So for Chivas, for me, that one was an 8.3.
Okay.
And it's so it's so different from that Elijah Craig
Mm-hmm.
that for me, it was just a little bit more my style. And that is why, but again, I said that was my 2 and 3. They're zero point 0.1 difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even 2A and 2B. It's 2.1 and 2.11.
Yep.
Like, that's how I feel.
Couldn't agree more. That's what you're about to see with my Makers 46. I'll let you go last since it was your number one, and I'll give away mine because it wasn't my number one. I had Elijah Craig at 8.7 at number one. I've got Makers 46 at 8.6 at number two. We're 0.1 away. I'm really splitting hairs here because nobody likes a tie. That's how close it was, though.
Yep. Feel very, very similar. For me, the Makers 46, not that far off. I had 8.6.
Okay.
So, I'm looking at a, 0.4 spread here?
Yeah.
Okay, that's splitting hairs even. When you talk about opinions and everything, guys, try all these. These are all you're splitting so many hairs here. Try everything with this cigar. Match this cigar with what you love. That, if there's anything that I think both of us learned here, Chris, these are all good. These are all great.
Mm-hmm.
Just whatever you love, have with this cigar, you got a good shot. This cigar seems to be very versatile in what you're going to match it with. And overall, too, top 25 in Cigar Aficionado. You can't go wrong with this cigar and whatever you're going to pair it with. Sounds like this might have been the best pairing we've found so far.
I think it is, and I think this is definitely the best trifecta that we've done so far.
Yes.
And I think as a little bit of proof of that, this is also the first time that we have landed on the exact same rating. I just realized we both did 8.6 for the Makers 46.
Oh.
So we both landed not even 0.1 off the exact same rating.
That is the first time, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Look
Another thing, I know we're always talking about how awesome these cigars are, but just to be completely transparent with everybody, I like most cigars that I have. I'm newer to it, so I'm to the point where it's like these all just taste great to me. That's how that goes. Here's something though. I forgot to puff this for like a while, and I picked it up, and you know how you can't really feel the heat through the wrapper after a while, and you're like, uh-oh, that went out. Nope, I puffed it, still going. That's impressive. I let cigars go out kind of a lot.
And here's another example for the cigar guys out there. You guys know that we all have this problem. With this cigar you love, you smoke it a little fast. We're looking at, I don't even remember exactly what the last episode was, but I think it was even more time than we're at right now. If I'm looking at the recording, I actually already moved down the band. Look how close
Yeah.
I'm smoking this thing probably too fast. Like if I smoked it down to the nub, it'd be a little overheated.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what that's what happens when you have a great cigar. And on the whiskey side, luckily for a cigar guy, it just tastes bad. On the whiskey side, if you got a whiskey that tastes too good, sometimes the morning just hurts too much.
Right. Yeah. Then you got a real problem on your hands.
Yeah, your mouth just doesn't taste bad. You feel bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But man, what a trifecta. No, I wish we could just go through this thing again and I could relive it, because that was a really enjoyable session there.
Yeah, this is almost to the level of like dog ear it and try it again a year from now and see where we land. It's that level of, like you said, splitting hairs. This is to the level where if our palates change just a touch, this could change. That's how different these are, or how close they are, but being totally different flavors.
Absolutely. I promised everybody you're not going to see the same cigar in the Cigar of the Week, the Perfect Pairing Club, all the way through in a calendar year, because I knew there may be one like this. Maybe this is the one that hits 2025 as a repeat. And there's not going to be many, but this might have to be one that we see over again in 2025. So last thing I'll mention, guys, as I try to always do, join the Perfect Pairing Club. You guys will get these cigars that we're having with these pairings every single week. And if you want 10% off, PPP10, that code will give you 10% off of the Perfect Pairing Club. Every single month you get that 10% off, and you'll be able to smoke cigars and enjoy it with us. And then join the Discord, and you'll be able to let us know that you disagreed with everything that we said.
Hey, now for those hanging around for the trivia question, I got to give it to them. So I'll give you a hint, and I'm making you guess still. The hint is this is halfway a trick question. So 2 of the 3 mean the same thing. So what does barrel proof, cask strength, and full proof mean on a label? 2 of them do mean the same thing. I want to have you guess.
All right, barrel proof and cask strength mean the same thing. And foolproof is marketing. That's all I'm going to say.
Kinda. I mean, you're kind of close. But what do barrel proof and cask strength mean then?
They mean it. That's a good question. Is it the? No, that can't be true. That's a great question, because like in my head, I'm like it's pure straight out of the cask, the barrel, obviously, that sort of thing. But it can age if it's sitting in a bottle for a while. Is it less aged?
So no, you were on the right track. So it actually does mean they take it straight out of the barrel. They don't water it down. They don't cut it with any water. That's what it goes into the bottle at, is barrel proof or cask strength. And I'll throw in a little bonus point. Aging in the bottle does happen for wine. At least I've heard that. Common misconception with whiskey is it does not. So if you keep a bottle of whiskey and you save it for 20 years for your son's birthday or something like that, it actually is going to taste, it should taste about the same as it did 20 years ago if it's the bottle is sealed properly. Fun fact. That's a little bonus point.
Doesn't happen with cigars.
Oh, that's a good point. Very
Trivia
good
question for next week.
Yeah.
Sneak peek for everyone who came on.
Yeah. Foolproof is different. And this is especially predominant, I would say, with Buffalo Trace's products. I've seen it the most with their stuff. You've got Weller Foolproof, and then you've got Benchmark Foolproof. What they mean by that is they proof it back down to whatever it was when it came off the still. So they distill it. It comes out at a certain proof. It goes into a barrel. In the barrel, most of the time your proof goes up because your water evaporates out of it. And then they put water back into it to proof it down to whatever it was when it came off of the still. So for Weller Foolproof, that's 114. For Benchmark Foolproof, I believe that's 125 proof. So little fun fact there. It doesn't mean the same thing, and a lot of people think it does.
I actually never knew that.
Yeah.
I'm a whiskey noob. What can I say?
Nothing wrong with that.
No, that was a great trivia question, guys. Thanks for tuning in today. We will catch you guys on the next Perfect Pairing podcast. But for now, like, subscribe, help us out, follow us everywhere. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Chris, this was a good one. Cheers.
This was a good one. Cheers.